Everyone, so today we're going to continue with our review of percents, specifically today operations with percents. So I decided to switch some things around. So today's video's date is correct, tomorrow's is going to be incorrect, just know that for the future. And then for me this is on page 35. Okay. So we're going to be looking at today how to solve percent problems, how to find the percent, how to find the part, and how to find the total. So there are three different kind of problems that you're going to see when it comes to percents. So the first kind of problem is going to be the total times the percent, and that's going to equal the part. So an example of this would be, what is 75% of 26? So to solve this, I was given the total and the percent. So I would do total times percent, and that's going to give me 75% of 26, because I'm finding a part of 26. The second kind that you're going to see is the part divided by the percent. It's going to equal the total. And if you remember anything about algebra, this makes sense, because really if I'm trying to solve for the total, I would divide both sides by the percent. So I would get part divided by percent equals total. So this makes sense if we look at our original equation. And an example of this wording is 56 is what? Or sorry, is 25% of what number? So 56 is a part of an original number, and you knew that it was 25%. So you're trying to solve for the original value, the total, that 25% of that number is. So then the last one is going to be the part divided by the total equals the percent. And obviously here, percent, we would want to convert it back to a percent. But again, if we look at our original equation, the total times percent equals the part. If I'm trying to solve for the percent, it would be I'd divide both sides by total, and I'd get part divided by total equals percent. An example of the wording of this is going to be 14 is what percent of 28? So these are all examples of the wording that you're going to see, and so when you see this, you just kind of need to look up at these three and think, okay, am I solving for the percent, the total, or the part, and how do I go about solving those? So let's do some examples. So first one, let's do 21 is 75% of what number? So here we have the part, not the original. We're trying to figure out 75% of what total gave us 21. So here we are looking for the total. So I'm going to use this equation. So I'm going to do 21 divided by 75%, and that's going to give me the original value. Now I can't divide by the percent like it is, so I have to convert it to a decimal. So 75% as a decimal, again, I start here at the very end and I move it in twice, and I get 0.75. Now, for these, if you would like to, you can do long division, or if you would prefer, you can use a calculator. So I would put this in as 21 divided by 0.75, and I would get 28 as my total. Okay, let's do another one. 6 is what percent of 8? So here we're solving for the percent. We're trying to figure out 6 is what percent, of 8. Okay, so I'm going to be using this equation here. So my part is 6 divided by 8. Okay, and again, you can do long division off to the side, or you can use your calculator. So 6 divided by 8, I'm going to get 0.75. However, it didn't ask me for decimal. My answer is not 0.75. It asked me for a percent. So to convert a decimal to a percent, I'm going to move my decimal over twice, and I get 75%. Okay, let's do a couple more. So next one, what is 90% of 20? So this is going to be my original kind of problem, total times percent equals the part. So I'm going to do 90%, and of always means multiply, times 20. So here, again, I cannot multiply a decimal, so I start at the end, or if there already is a decimal, I'd start at the decimal, but since there isn't, we start at the end, and I'm going to move it in twice. So I get 0.90, or just 0.9, times 20. And if I use my calculator, 0.9 times 20, 18. Okay, let's do a couple more. 24 is 75% of what number? So here we're trying to solve for the original. So we're going to do 24 divided by 75%. Again, I cannot divide by a percent. I have to convert it to a decimal. 24 divided by, there's no decimal in my percent, so I start at the end. I move it in twice. And here I have 24 divided by 0.75, and I get 32. Okay, let's do a few more. 40 is what percent of 50? So here we're trying to solve for the percent, and we're going to do 40 divided by 50. For some of these, you might think, oh, well, that's just 40 over 50, which is the same thing as 80 over 100, so I know it's 80%. Or you could use your calculator. Oops. And I get 0.8. Now, when I go from a decimal to a percent, I multiply it by 100 and I move my decimal over twice. So here's once, here's twice. So my percent is not 8%. Since I moved it over a second time, it's as if I had to add a 0. So my answer is 80%. It is not 8%. Okay, let's do one more. What is 22% of 400? So here I have my total and I have my percent, and I'm trying to figure out what part 22% of 400 is. It's going to be 400 times 22%. I cannot multiply it by a percent, so I'm going to start here, move it in twice, and I get 400 times 0.22. And I get 88 as my final answer. And that is how you solve percent problems.